Meet the most dangerous species on Earth. Consumers. They're always hungry. They're never satisfied. They leave nothing but devastation. The power of consumers. It's your choice.
Hello everyone, it's nice to be here. Hello also to everyone who is watching our live stream from all over the world. And also hello to everyone who is with me here at the Spanische Hofreitschule in Vienna. We really want to motivate and inspire all of you to be part of the solution, because in the end we really need every one of you to make a change, and every little action matters. Before we start our great panel today, let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Barbara Meyer. I'm working as a model and actress, but I am also an ambassador for fair fashion of the German Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. We just saw our amazing minister here at the panel before us. And in my work as an ambassador, I really got to know how unbelievable dirty the fashion industry is and how many people get injured. And today we don't want to talk about problems, we want to talk about solutions. And in my work as an ambassador, I really learned one key message, and it is never underestimate the power of consumers, because we can really make a change. We just heard a great panel about the transformation to a green economy, but now we want to talk about us. We want to talk about our power, the power of consumers. So please welcome with me our outstanding panel today. We have Rowan Barnett, head from google.org for EMEA and AIPC. We have Rodolphe de Campos, CFO from IKEA Austria. Jürgen Czernohorski, the Executive City Councillor for Climate from the city of Vienna. We have Mette Løgge, correct me if I pronounce it right, the CEO from the app Too Good To Go, and Teresa Imre, the CEO from Markte, the digital farmers market. But as a first, we want to start with an amazing and fascinating young woman who is fighting, just like me, fast fashion. The fashion industry is the second largest polluting industry in the world. It's not harming just the environment, but also the health and the life of millions of people. Today we have with us Maya Penn, the CEO from the fashion company Maya's Ideas. You started your first fashion brand with only 8 years old. I was just thinking about what I did when I was 8 years old, and I definitely did not start a fashion company. But you did, and you are following the slow fashion approach. Can you tell us a little bit what that means in practice?
Absolutely. So slow fashion is really the counteraction to the fast fashion industry. So this is fashion that is cheaply produced and overproduced, and it is polluting our air, our water, it's releasing carbon emissions. And then there's also the layer of ethical treatment within the fashion industry. There are so many garment workers whose, health and lives are also at risk every day. They're not receiving fair wages, ethical workloads, safe working environments, and these are oftentimes women of color that are put in these situations. So, really going back to how the well-being of people ties into the well-being of the planet, it really is shown in a really unique way through the fashion industry. So for me, slow fashion, sustainable fashion is really about looking at the full life cycle of a piece of clothing, using resources that are already available to us to make new products, using, really a cradle to cradle instead of a cradle to grave method of creating new designs, and really focusing in on how we can be really creative about pushing the sustainability factor of the products that are created by the fashion industry. Looking at things like biomimetic design and circularity and circular fashion. There are so many layers and so many exciting things happening in the sustainable fashion industry that there's really no excuse for major companies and major fast fashion brands to start making a change because consumers are speaking with their dollars and are actually demanding better and demanding more sustainable products and sustainable process of creating these products.
You are an activist for many years and also an environmental consultant. What advice would you give to someone who really wants to change his daily life and the habits just a little bit to more sustainable ones?
I think that there are so many incredible resources that are out there figuring out how you can eat, shop, live, travel, etc. more sustainably. I really want to focus in on the mindset that's so crucial to actually making sustainability efforts within our own daily lives more effective. It's important to remember that everyone's sustainability journey is going to look completely unique and different. And everyone's circumstances, whether that be their income, where they live, their ability, whether that be like physically, what they have access to, that will really change what their sustainability style looks like. And a lot of that also plays into how important it is to make sustainable living more accessible to more demographics of people. But I think it's really crucial to focus in on why sustainability matters to you. Personalize sustainability for yourself. So if you're someone who grew up near the water and near the ocean, maybe you have a fondness for that and that makes you motivated to really focus in on, minimizing your plastic usage, plastic pollution, or marine life, preserving marine life. If you're someone who is really passionate about the fashion industry and being creative in that way, then really focus in on how you can, really upgrade your wardrobe without having to buy new things, extend the life cycle of your clothing, shop vintage, secondhand, sustainably, learn how to mend and sew your own clothing when you damage it, so on and so forth. And I really think the most crucial part is to remember that when you humanize these issues, they're more tangible for people. When you understand how these issues impact our daily lives and the lives of people all over the world, we were just talking about, or we were just hearing about how so many communities around the world are impacted by climate change right now. It's not a far off future issue. Many of those are Black, brown, and indigenous communities. And those communities also have a lot of really important traditional ecological knowledge that so many people can utilize and help increase and fund without exploiting it. But really, I think the biggest key that helps people is understanding that everyone's sustainability lifestyle is going to look so different, really humanizing sustainability and climate change, these really big kind of topics that need to be demystified more, because that will in turn make your efforts more impactful as you figure out how you want to implement sustainability within your own life.
Thank you, Maya. Mr. De Campos, textiles are also relevant for your business, but it's just a very small piece in the puzzle. IKEA is on the way to becoming a circular business. It means also the products are designed to have circular capabilities. They are designed to be repurposed, reused, resold, repaired, recycled. That is a pretty bold vision, given that IKEA is the largest furniture retailer in the world, operating in more than 50 markets. And for your idea of the circular business, you also need the engagement of the consumer. So how does all of that work in practice?
Yeah, thanks a lot for this great introduction and also for having this panel, because as you said, big companies like IKEA, but like Apple that we heard before, we have a big impact, obviously, on society, and with the many products we bring into the people. So adding this conversation in this panel is really a brilliant idea. It's humbling on one way, because we are one company, trying to do good, and today joining with governments, experts, whatsoever. So it's really thrilling. And also extremely inspiring. Actually, listening to all the talks today, I said, I need to connect my intervention to this, to that. But actually, I lost track because everything falls together and connects the dot extremely. So you said it, IKEA has realized the responsibility we have, and we want to step up. And just like Apple, Lisa Jackson said before, we won't wait till 240. We have a clear plan by 2030 that 100% of our furniture and products will be made of renewable sources or recycled materials. And as you said, all products will be designed to be recycled afterwards. So that is a great step, which aligns in the tradition of IKEA to work in a very clever way with the resources. We heard today a lot about the possibility to work for the environment and for the economy. It's good business to be a good business. We are convinced of that. And this goal by 2030 is one more action that we have decided to communicate, also to side up with the many consumers. It's very important that the actions we take are communicated to encourage other companies, but also the consumers. And we start now with this. In all our stores, we call it a circular hub, where we co-create together with our customers. We encourage them to repair their furniture. We provide solution for that. We repack furniture, sorry. And also we enable the customers to bring back furniture they don't want anymore, and we sell them to new customers. So they gave them a second life, so to say. It's a small step, but it's very meaningful for us. We put a lot of means in it, and the response is great. Already today, people love it, they buy into it, and we are convinced that this is going to be a decade of action in front of us.
That sounds amazing. The consumer behavior is constantly changing, and also the pandemic really accelerated existing trends. Can you tell us a little bit how the future of green retail will look like?
I'll try. We talked about circularity and how we produce and how we design our products, and the future of retailing is a lot about where we sell them, where we put our stores, and where, how people come to see our range and to get inspired. The best example I can tell, and we were talking a lot of actions today, the new store that we're about to open in Vienna at the Westbahnhof, it's the western train station in Vienna, and you see it on the picture, is going to open by end of August. So, talking about action, it's happening right now. It's a real showcase of sustainability, starting where it is. Everybody knows IKEA, and we know where it's placed today at the surroundings of the cities. We are committed to change that. IKEA has recognized that people move into cities, and so do we, right? So this building is located at the top of a metro station, which was one of the criteria where we were looking for a place for our new store. And it's not just a metro station, it's the most frequented one. Because we wanted to enable people to come by bike, by foot, and by public transport. Because we have a project here which has no parking space. So, no point taking your car and coming to IKEA, at least not this one, because there is no parking space. So that was the first huge step for us. Then, having done this step, it was an avalanche of new topics we could add to it. So the way it looks like, we have planted trees all around the building, not just on the rooftop, but also on the facade. So we, on purpose, gave back some space to create this, I would say, sustainability volume, where we have trees, but we have also beehives. We have, a new habitat for a certain bird species who was there before us. So we had to demolish the old building, but we will relocate them here. Many other things to explain about this building. I don't want to steal the time, but the best way to find out is to come end of August and visit us and enjoy life there. The second thing about future of retailing is not just where we share and where we show our furniture, it's also how we sell it. We know that more and more people order online, so the whole logistics and delivery is also crucial. And the way we designed this store and the setup in Vienna is also embracing this. Again, actions. We have opened 2 years ago a central warehouse in Vienna by refurbishing an old factory, where we put photovoltaic on the top, ice cooling to get really climate friendly air conditioning. And now we have just placed a contract for 40 electric vehicles to do 100% of the deliveries in Vienna by end of 22 with electric trucks. So this whole setup is a small example of the future of retailing. And I agree, it's only in Austria. But by giving the good example, we can motivate and inspire people to copy us all over the world.
It's very inspiring. Thank you. Today we also have Rowan Barnett with us from google.org. Google is part of our daily life, of like almost every one of us. That gives you a real chance to be a big game changer. What is Google doing to foster business sustainability at scale?
Thanks, Barbara. And first of all, sorry that I can't join in person this year, but I've really enjoyed all the sessions so far on the live stream. So, at Google, yes, we are deeply, deeply committed to sustainability and, have been ever since the beginning of the company. In our founding decade, we were the first major company to be carbon neutral. In our second decade, we were the first company to achieve 100% renewable energy. And by 2030, we now aim to be the first major company to operate carbon free. Now, I think it's, Governor Schwarzenegger said this morning in his excellent and inspiring speech, we've got to be clearer for people about what all this means. So I think speaking plainly, the best way to reduce carbon is not to emit any in the first place, right? So our carbon-free goal means no credits, no offsets, no accounting tricks. It means fully decarbonizing our energy supply, operating on clean energy, 24/7 everywhere. So that's what we want to achieve in the next 9 years. And admittedly, that's hugely challenging. Matt Eisman talked this morning about moonshots, and we see this as a moonshot as well, but we are making good progress. And I think we also definitely take a yes, we can attitude. So for example, 5 of our data center sites at the moment in Europe or the US are operating at or nearly at 90% carbon-free energy. And, we also heard today, it's going to require all of us across sectors, civic, public, private, and it requires us all working together. We don't actually care about being the first company to become carbon-free. What we care about is, can we play a catalytic role for everyone to get there? So, for example, using our technology, machine learning, we've reduced by 30 to 40% the energy it requires to cool our data centers. And so we're making that, and we've been making that technology available to others for use, such as French retailer Carrefour, who's been using Google AI to analyze large data sets and better forecast demand so that they can reduce food waste. Now, finally, at google.org, Google's philanthropy, we've been helping to find and fund and support nonprofits and social innovators to build and scale, effective tech-based solutions that will be tackling critical issues from pollution to emissions analysis to reforestation. And you've seen incredible impact there so far.
That really sounds amazing. If you look at google.com, in 2020, people searched for how to live a more sustainable lifestyle more than ever before. How is Google reacting on that trend?
Well, first of all, that's brilliant, isn't it? It's a hugely encouraging trend that underscores, I think, what Greta Thunberg was saying this morning. More and more people are waking up to the climate emergency, are searching for how to take action. And so, it's really up to us and people that have agency to empower people, consumers, with the tools and the knowledge they need to be able to make sustainable consumption decisions. So at Google, of course, we have the enormous privilege and the responsibility of having multiple products that are used by 1 billion users. So we're thinking really hard about how can we help move the needle in people's everyday lives. So how do we build sustainability right into our product? And in fact, we've committed ourselves to helping over 1 billion people to make sustainable choices and take action to reduce their carbon footprint, their environmental footprint by 2022. So by next year, 1 billion people. And some of those things might include, using Google Maps to find bike shares, or to find electric vehicle charging stations, or using Google Flights to filter for the kind of least carbon intensive options. And I think what's also exciting is we're working on improving Google Maps, not only to make people aware of and be able to compare the route with the lowest carbon footprint, but also to actually default switch people to that route when it has approximately the same ETA as the fastest route. So I think those are some of the things where we can put the power in the hands of the consumers to make those choices, and excited about a number of other things that will be coming.
It is really amazing how you support your consumers. It's great. Please continue with that journey. Mr. Czernohorski, you have been a city councillor in Vienna since November 2020, you're responsible also for environment and climate. Vienna has set itself the goal to be CO2 neutral by 2040. What actions have already been implemented to reach that goal?
First and foremost, this is exactly what we need, action. And we have to act as leaders, as politicians, as entrepreneurs, together with the people. I think the whole summit is about that. And we have to think about how we can do this even bolder and courageously. And we want to do this bold, and we want to do this courageously in Vienna. We have a new government program. This is, on the whole, a government program for climate protection, which I'm very proud of. We have set the goal of being CO2 neutral by 2040. In this, we are pioneers in Austria. We are the first federalist states. And we also want to be pioneers in the field of energy transition. In order to fight climate change, in order to terminate pollution, like Governor Schwarzenegger put it, we have to radically rethink the way we consume and we produce energy. That's why we started the largest solar power initiative in our history. In the next decade, we will build as many solar systems as we did in the last 15 years combined. It's a dimension of about 100 football fields on our rooftops, on our surfaces, on our facades. And as the city of Vienna, we have very many buildings. We can lead by example. We will use all these buildings to build these solar plants. But we need the civil society, we need the regional economy, we need the entrepreneurs to go this way together with us. Therefore, we think about new ways of reaching out, new ways of cooperations, clever ways of rethinking sponsorships and so on. Together, we want to make Vienna the city of the sun, and I think we can get the job done.
Yeah, cities have a big problem with air pollution. We just heard today that 7 million people die every year because of air pollution. And of course, it's also a topic for Vienna. We are looking for solutions today, and we have a video message from a great sportsman who has a very simple solution to the air pollution problem. It's Peter Sagan, three-time cycling world champion, and he is also fighting against the climate change. So let's listen to his message he just sent us.
Hello! Sorry I can't be with you today in the Austrian World Summit, but I'm busy racing my bike. You know, my passion belongs to cycling because it's healthy and environmentally friendly. I strongly believe that the future of urban transportation is not driverless cars, it's carless drivers. Don't forget, every one of us has the power to fight climate change every day. Let's go for a bike ride soon!
That's amazing. We also saw Arnold coming here with his bicycle, so maybe we can all join in that trend. Mr. Czernohowski, currently the linear economy is the dominant economic model. Raw materials are extracted and processed, and then the products are used and just thrown away at the end of their life cycle. Sometimes the life is very short of the products. We just use it once and just throw it away. And from IKEA, we just heard that the circular economy is really coming into focus as a big alternative. Is that also interesting for a city like Vienna?
Absolutely. I think nobody really wants to buy or to produce waste. Nobody wants to throw away products. Nevertheless, the excessive consumption and production of materials of all kinds, of food, is a major cause for our greenhouse emissions. And therefore we have to rethink our economy. Therefore we have to work on a circular economy. We have to reuse, we have to recycle our products. We have set the goal in Vienna to get a zero waste city. And I can bring along a small example on how we do that. We have invented a repair voucher last year. Basically, you could download the voucher on the internet, and the city of Vienna funded every repair with up to 100 euros. It was a huge success. More than 22,000 repairs were funded with this voucher. And I think it's an example of how we can help the people to make their own contribution in reducing CO2 emissions and helping companies that were hit very hard by the corona crisis. That is social climate protection put in practice.
You just spoke about food, which is another sector where we are really facing huge problems, and I think every one of us knows the problems, but we are here to talk about solutions. That's why we invited two amazing women who not just have a vision of how we can solve the problems, but also put that vision into reality. Mette Löge, we just heard that about 1/3 of food produced for human consumption is lost or wasted. It amounts about 1.3 billion tons per year. And when I was reading that number, I really had to read it twice. It's 1.3 billion tons per year, which is like, you can't even imagine how much food is just thrown away and wasted. But with the app Too Good To Go, you are fighting against that problem. Can you tell us how you do that?
Yeah, sure. So Too Good To Go is a free app that basically connects the restaurant owners, bakeries, supermarkets who have surplus food left by the end of the business day with consumers who buy that food at a discount. So the consumer will buy the food and go pick it up at the store. That's our basic concept. And it's a really nice solution because it addresses one of the biggest problems we have, which is food waste. Food waste alone is responsible for up to 10% of all greenhouse gas emissions. So we address this enormous issue in a way where we leave everyone as winners. So for the business owner, it's a great ESG initiative. It's doing something good. It's also a great way to get new consumers in the door. More than half of our users have come back to a store to purchase at full price after first discovering it on Too Good To Go. And then, of course, there's a business case. I think food waste is the dumbest issue we have because it really makes no sense any way you look at it. We're completely using up all our resources to produce all this food that has a value of, it's the GDP for Denmark, Norway, and Sweden combined on an annual basis. So it really doesn't make any sense. So I think part of why this is getting traction is that it's win-win for the store, and then on the consumer side, it's also a great cocktail because you get to feel like you do something good. And I think saving a meal on Too Good To Go is just very different than ordering a pizza on an app because you know that that food would have gone to waste. So it feels good. There's an element of a treasure hunt because by definition, food waste is unpredictable. That's what makes it a bit tricky to address. So we operate with this magic bag concept. It's a surprise bag because you get whatever is left. And that adds this element of treasure hunt. And for a lot of us who go to work, we get up early, go to work, have the kids, work again, go to bed. just not knowing what's going to be in that bag is actually like a moment of excitement during your day. And then finally, of course, we make quality food affordable for a lot of people. So I think when we talk about solutions to climate change, it's really about figuring out a way where we can make it fun, where it's a positive experience, and then we try to build this in a way where we also inspire people to take action beyond the app. So make them aware of the issue and make them motivated to change habits at home.
You just said it feels good to use the app. I really can agree on that because I'm one of your users. Your app has grown extremely fast. In just 3 years active, you reached more than 40 million users, and you're saving right now around 100,000 meals, per day. Can you tell us the key reason or the key secret maybe for that huge success?
I think your numbers are a couple of weeks old.
Oh, okay.
So
tell us.
Yeah, so on a daily basis, we're saving about 160, 170,000 meals. So on the platform, we have 76,000 restaurants, bakeries, hotels, and so on. And then the 40 million users on the platform are really looking at what's near me. And of course, with the number of restaurants we have on now, most of our users can find something nearby. We operate in 16 countries in Europe and North America. And our team is a little more than 1,000 people. So I think, you talked about bold solutions. I think part of our boldness is also that we dare scaling this. And that's another tricky thing about some of these solutions. How do we actually get them to scale?
It's really amazing. Please keep on growing with your app because it's a real good thing. But on the food sector, we have some more problems because agriculture and land use together is responsible for about a quarter of the emissions worldwide. And we have to change, of course, how food is produced, but we also have to change our consumption. We have to consume more regional and more seasonal. You created an app. It's called Markta. It's a digital farmers market. And it's a platform for regional food. Can you tell us a little bit how it works and what is the difference to other online shopping platforms?
Certainly. Well, Markta is a digital farmers market, and I think our biggest difference is that we make zero compromises. There's no greenwashing whatsoever related to that. And that's basically also why I'm here for, because I do believe that there are several steps we have to take, but I think as a startup, you really have the opportunity to start fresh from zero and start in a certain way where you can, first of all, be a blueprint and be an ambassador for change, but on the other hand, also lead this example by showing corporations that, yes, we can actually build circular systems around logistics of regional food producers. Markta was founded went online in 2018. And at the beginning, it was quite difficult to find a lot of financing partners. It was difficult to find, actually not really the producers, because basically one of our biggest missions is to really secure small-scale family farming. Every year, 2,500 family farms are closing down in Austria only. And that's the reason, because of mass production, because of monocultures, also because of the EU funding scheme, so we have to work there on the political agenda as well. But this mission actually drove me even more. It's the farmers that we're working for, and it's the small families that want to survive in this system and not only go towards mass agriculture, food production. So with Markta, we have been pushed by the farmers, and the biggest challenge were actually the consumers. Because at the beginning, it was so difficult. We were not as fast as Amazon. We were not as cheap as all the supermarket chains. It just took this extra effort. And of course, now sitting here, one of the next steps that I will talk about, of course, is also the Corona crisis that actually changed our consumption behaviors. And that was actually a big trigger slowing down. Chancellor Kurz said at the beginning that there's like only this direction or the other. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that we are stuck in Stone Age if we're rethinking our mass consumption behavior. I do think less is more. Because in our case, food costs a little bit more. But with this little extra cents you pay, it's worth for the system for the next generations and for your own health as a society. I do believe we are here to change, and I think one of the most important things is just to change by daily actions. That's why I think food is just the food for thought that we need.
Thank you. It's really amazing how you fight for the farmers. It's great. Thank you. How has the corona pandemic affected your business?
Well, it was crazy, to be honest. There were sleepless nights because I still remember, I think it was my mom's birthday. It was March 14 in 2020. And she was visiting me in Vienna. And we were, listening about the lockdown, which was pronounced. And we had about, I think, really some humble 150 orders per week. So we were very small. We started only a few months earlier with the logistics system for Magda. And I was looking at my phone, and something really happened because all the notifications at that time, I still got for every order an email. And all of a sudden, my post mail just really exploded because just within a few days, we had 2,500 orders, which actually means that within a few days, we found a system where the family farms were able to sell 80,000 products just in a day from local family farms. And that's the challenge where I say so many people thought it's not possible to organize it in that decentral way. But yes, we can.
It's amazing. Thank you for inspiring us. Mr. Barnett, the last two examples from the food sector showed very clearly how key digitalization is to implement innovative and workable business solutions, but which also contributes to a healthier environment. Do you maybe have another example how key digitalization really can help us in fighting the climate crisis?
Well, let me just start by saying I think the stories are inspiring, and it just shows really supporting entrepreneurs and social innovators. They're the ones that are going to really come up with transformative solutions. So I think it's brilliant. Certainly one area that we've been focused on a company is actually helping on a city. So cities are responsible for 70% of the world's emissions. So how do we help them reduce their carbon footprint, tackle pollution, become greener? And so one of the ways we're doing that is we developed at Google an environmental insight tool, which is a tool that enables cities around the world to look at data and insight that will help them understand and reduce building emissions, transport emissions, how to calculate kind of rooftop solar potential, and also measure air. So as part of that, we're going to be helping and currently helping 500 cities and local governments to reduce by 2030 1 gigaton, so that's 1 billion tons of carbon emissions each year. So that's really the aim. And in parallel to that, I think Governor Schwarzenegger called this morning for more focused action on tackling pollution, for instance. And I think to stress that point, recent studies have found that Africa's outdoor air pollution is actually more deadly than malnutrition, than dirty water or poor sanitation. And so to give a concrete example of hope in that fight, with philanthropic funding from Google.org and also some tech support, Makerere University in Uganda has developed a low-cost air quality sensor, which uses cloud-based AI software to analyze the local air quality and to predict local pollution. So what that means is they then share that with Kampala's citizens. It empowers them to understand when to go out, when is the risk of exposure very high. So that helps them to reduce their exposure to pollution. And also it helps government agencies to inform policy measures and reduce pollution. And I'm excited to say that pilot has been successful, and now Makerere is expanding AirQuo in other countries across sub-Saharan Africa.
That's super inspiring. Thank you. Mr. De Campos, IKEA has more than 1 billion consumers per year, which is a massive number, and you want them to come with you on a journey towards a more sustainable lifestyle. How do you motivate these people to come with you on that journey? Can you give us maybe a concrete example how you do that?
For sure. I mean, first of all, before we go in concrete, products, it's more about a principle we want to follow. IKEA has been known for, good design, Scandinavian design, and affordable prices because we want so many people to be able to afford it, right? And the same thinking applies to sustainability and enabling people to live a sustainable life at home. So the big bet IKEA is taking is to say we don't create a specific, sustainable furniture line or whatever. We go all in. We will change the whole palette of products in terms of circularity, in terms of being recycled and renewable. And the key element is to make it affordable for people. So by making these sustainable products the default option, where people don't have to think about, to choose or not to choose. If they go to IKEA, they can rely on having the best possible product at this price. And this is the key argumentation we want to use. To give you an example of what we have done already, take the LED bulb. It's quite a complex technology, and at the time where it was launched, it costed €7 per bulb at IKEA. And nobody was happy with that, and we were the first not to be happy. And our founder said, okay, let's make it under €1, which sounded like crazy at that time. But we put everything into action and managed now to sell a LED bulb under €1. Same thing with single-use batteries. It used to be a great business, great money, but we decided to simply phase them out and stop selling it, only rechargeable batteries. Another action. And one action that I think will get an echo today is about an iconic product, the meatballs at IKEA. And from Game Changers, the documentation, or many discussions we've had, we know the effect of meat industry on the climate, right? But we also know that people love these meatballs. So IKEA took the opportunity to say, okay, let's produce plant balls that taste exactly the same, but are made from natural, plant-based ingredients, and really taste the same. And a little story: in Norway, one of the ministers was actually a bit of, annoyed with us because we plan to phase out the meatballs, and he loves them. So we invited him and made a blind test, and actually he could not tell which is which. And for us, it was a sign of, okay, mission accomplished, because we can provide the same satisfaction, but with only 4% carbon footprint compared to the meatballs. So this is another great example of action. And we're going all in. So
thank you.
We started.
That's amazing. I'm going to try these. So we have to speed up a little bit because Arnold Schwarzenegger is waiting to come back on stage, and we don't want to make him wait too long. But Mette, we want to hear from you. You had a dream. You wanted to help change people's attitude to food waste. Did your dream already come true?
Not quite yet. I think I would be a lousy entrepreneur if I felt like my mission was accomplished now. So our mission is to inspire and empower everyone to fight food waste together. So I talked about the direct impact we have. On top of that, we want to increase the awareness around food waste and then give people the tools and the knowledge that they need. A good example is date labeling. A confusion about date labeling is actually the cause of 10% of all food waste in Europe. People simply don't know the difference between use by and best before dates. So we have put in a great effort in trying to educate on this and making people understand that best before products are perfectly fine to eat if you use your senses. So we can see in France, for example, that the share of the population who understand this has gone from 50% to 80% during the period where we've been campaigning on this, and we're doing it in 7 or 8 countries now. So I think that kind of initiatives we need to do on top of saving the meals with the restaurants every day.
I hope you will come back in a few years and then you are at the point where you say, my dream came true. I really hope that. Thank you. Teresa, I'm sorry. Our diet has a relevant influence on our personal carbon footprint. If you would have to name one thing that is needed most to raise awareness for a more healthy and also for a more environmental friendly diet, what would that be?
Sadly, there's never one thing to solve it all. I think what we need is just to listen to our hearts and our guts, because what is most of all important, and I'm doing a literal move here, is to stand up, and we have to really stand in for change, for whatever change we need. And sometimes it's not about those just being overwhelmed of complexity. Just focus on your goal, and our goal is very mutual. We want to have a future for the next generations, and we want to have a healthy planet. And yes, food is one of the most important things where we can shape our consumption decisions every day. And I'm looking to Doris Schmittauer, who was one of the first politicians, and actually the wife of Van der Bellen, who is one of our loyal customers, who really helped me believe in Magda, because she pushed us by actually supporting us with our solution. She changed. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Maya, our topic today is the power of consumers. In a few sentences, what do you think? In your opinion, how much power do consumers really have?
Consumers are just more than consumers. Consumers are really, I think we have to really reframe the language and focus on the impact of citizens, of individuals, that we can do more than just consume. I'm someone who has been an environmental activist since 2008 when I was 8 years old. I'm 21 now, and I personally have seen the shift to a greener future that I've been really studying this over the last 13 years that I've been doing this work, essentially for the majority of my life. And we are at a tipping point. We are definitely at a place where industry leaders and world leaders are really listening to people, to consumers, that sustainability is not just a niche or a trend or a fad. It is the new standard of, or is becoming the new standard of business, and the companies and the industry leaders that recognize this are the ones that are going to be able to succeed. And it's really important, I think, to also speak to the importance of intergenerational collaboration as being someone who is a member of Generation Z. And I also started at a time where, I couldn't turn on the TV and watch youth participating in the climate strike. I'm someone who really had to kind of create my own blueprint for youth environmental activism. And I think that intergenerational collaboration is what will make the biggest impact, because we also see how much of an impact Gen Z has on their whole families and people that live with them, their consumer behaviors, as well as the impact they have as they come into the workforce now and want to be a part of companies that are making meaningful, positive impact on the world. So I like I said, the impact of consumers is definitely real, and consumers are more than consumers. They're citizens, they're voters, they're educators. There are so many layers to it. And I'm so glad that we have this platform to speak to these important issues and how we can use our power to make a difference.
Thank you so much, Maya. Mr. Czernohorski, what are your conclusions from what you have heard today?
Well, first of all, I take so many great ideas with me, and I think we need all of them. We need our forces, our powers combined. And as this panel is called the power of consumers, I would underline one last thing. We need the power of the people. In order to encourage the power of the people, we have to think of climate politics, of climate protection as a social issue, as a way to make the world a better place for everybody, as a way to social justice. Franz Timmermans said today, transition will be just, or it just will not be. This stayed in mind, and I'm sure this is the key factor of our success. We learned in the Corona time that it's not enough to have the right arguments, to have the scientists on our side, to reach the brains of the people. We have to reach their hearts, and that needs new approaches. That needs new approaches to the way we organize education, but also new approaches to actively involve the people and actively empower them to make a change and to make a contribution to change their environment for the better. It's like a healthy plant. It grows from the bottom up. So it's one last message to all the leaders and all the politicians here. We may not fear the power of the people. We have to encourage it.
That's amazing. Thank you. I could listen to success stories like these for hours, but unfortunately we are already at the end of our panel. So let me say thank you to all our amazing speakers. It was really inspiring listening to you, but also thank you to everyone who was watching our live stream today. I hope we could give you an idea about how powerful consumers really are. We can make a change, so let's all use this power towards a more green, more sustainable futures. And please don't forget to have a look on our platform, climateactionstories.com, where you will find even more inspiring success stories. But now we